Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hometown Sports Corner here. Jamie Hughes on tonight's show, and glad to have you join us on a Thursday evening. Next little bit, we'll be talking about some dirt track racing and some high school football. We've got a lot of grade school basketball action going on. My buddy Chris Gotze brought us a good couple basketball games earlier tonight down in Emmalina, Kentucky. The Lady Eagles played host to the Lady Tigers of Jonesboro. You guys let me know if you went to that game or if you had a chance to watch it here on Hometown Sports. I also want to recap some action from over to Alice Lloyd College. I had a chance to call one of their volleyball games over there. And then Chris and I had June Buchanan and Emmalina's girls game earlier this week as well. So a lot of good action going on there. And just a hello to all of you. And glad to have you tuning in tonight. Those of you that have come back and watch us in the morning, that's okay. Not everybody's night owls like us. We understand that. This show always gets more viewers on the flip side. Those of you go back and watch it and so forth, we're glad to have you regardless again. I don't know, that earbud's making a little bit of a racket there. We got to see if that don't work better. But anyhow, guys, we're glad to have every one of you, and we got a lot of stuff we can talk about. Perhaps a short time to do it. So let's take us a commercial break, and we'll be back talking a little sports and update you on some things that happened and some things that are going to happen. Each and every week we do that right here, and we'll be back after this word from our sponsors.
In Kentucky, we understand what matters. Family, friends, community. But sometimes we hurt. At Mountain Comprehensive Care Center, we believe in hope, and Mountain's behavioral health professionals want to be there for you every step of the way. Together, we can overcome the challenges of depression, PTSD, addiction, and so much more. With behavioral health centers throughout Kentucky, your story of recovery begins at Mountain Comprehensive Care Center.
Take the short drive to satisfaction with the Tim Short Auto Group. Up to 5,000 vehicles to choose from. Shop online or in person.
Hey, I'm Tim Short. I'd just like to invite everybody out to one of our 27 locations, or check us out online at timshortautogroup.com.
Take the short drive to satisfaction and bring home your new vehicle.
Just want to watch the game.
Dad, turn on the ceiling fan. Use the gray remote. Hit power, then input.
It's not working.
That's the silver one.
It might be difficult to understand what all the remotes on your coffee table do. But with a Kentucky Farm Bureau agent in every county, at least it's easy to get great insurance. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment.
Next time, I'll just go to the game.
Dale Hamilton is asking for your vote and support to re-elect him to Knott County Board of Education District Number 4. Dale has 32 years experience in education, 24 of those years being spent as a classroom teacher and a coach, and 8 years as your Board of Education member. He believes that every student in Knott County deserves the opportunity to succeed. We have invested in our students by investing in a brand new football facility. This facility will elevate our football, soccer teams, and track teams at middle and high school level teams for many years to come. Vote for strong leadership and experience. Re-elect Dale Hamilton, Knott County School Board Member District Number 4. Paid for by Dale Hamilton.
Are you looking for personalized health care that's efficient and close to home? Primary Care Center is now your destination for comprehensive health care in the center of your community. With a team of experienced and caring local providers, we offer a range of services. We have locations in Hazard, Hyden, Hindman, Fico, and now our new Whitesburg location. Stop by today and walk-ins are welcome. That's Primary Care Centers of Eastern Kentucky.
Hello, my name is Harold Kraft, and I'm running to be your next District 3 board member. I would like to wish the students, teachers, and staff, both certified and classified, a great school year, crafting the future for the next generation of Knott County students. I'm Harold Kraft, asking for your vote, and I paid for this advertisement.
What keeps you going? Your love for the game? Your teammates? A victory? At ARH Orthopedics, our goal is to keep you pain-free so your body can keep going. There's no time for discomfort in your joints or ligaments caused by an injury. ARH Orthopedic providers specialize in treatment plans, from non-surgical and surgical options, so your care is entirely centered around you. Visit arh.org/ortho to find an orthopedic provider near you. ARH, more for Appalachia.
And welcome back, guys. Again, Jamie Hughes on here for a Thursday edition of Sports Talk. And big thank you to all of our good sponsors that make all these things we're doing possible. Of course, number one sponsor has been and always will be you, the fans. Without you guys, wouldn't be any reason or need for us to do what we do. But we enjoy this and having good fun with it. And had a chance to go, like I said, over to Alice Lloyd College and watch the ladies play their volleyball game over there. And a big shout out to them. I'm telling you, that Coach Van Hoos is really getting a team built, and she's on to something that I've wanted to always happen. She knows as well as you and I know there's a ton of talent right here in these mountains of eastern Kentucky, and she's really doing a great job reaching out and going to put an emphasis, I think, on getting some of the best in the area. And you won't be long till you'll see her continuously succeeding, and she's got the formula down over there. But I said all that to say this. Congratulations to the Alice Lloyd Lady Eagles. As I said, I broadcast their volleyball game against Appalachian Bible College, and they won that one 3-0. Won the first set 25-21. They actually had to come from behind in that one. At one time, I think they might have been down 4 or 5 points, but to come back and won it 25-21. Then they had a big way in the second period as they won 25-12. And then you knew that Lady Warriors of Appalachian Bible was going to make a good contest out of it as they came back and took it to, I guess, extended play, you could say there. But nevertheless, Alice Lloyd won it 28-26 to win 3-0. And congratulations again to Coach Van Hoos and to the ladies over there at Alice Lloyd College. We were showed a lot of hospitality and appreciate that and enjoyed ourselves too. Shout out to my buddy that helped me call that one over there. Appreciate all the hard work and everybody putting the time and attention into that and so forth. But then the following night, I was right back there again in the same gymnasium. Had a chance to see the June Buchanan Lady Crusaders, and my buddy Adam Dials is coaching the girls program over there, and he invited me to come over. And it just so happened they were playing in Molina. A good friend of mine, Doug White and Keith Mosley, coached that team, so I went over and covered that one, and we had a good time over there and enjoyed ourselves. Again, congratulations to all the kids that participated in that one. It was another good matchup there. That I usually see my buddy Keith. I have a hard time when I hear Keith tell these girls to pass the ball. He never would pass me the ball, but anyhow, he's making a good coach. And girls, you just keep listening to him. The guy knows the sport. And there's my buddy Caleb Anderson. And man, this young lady here is going to be a baller. Got a lot of nice players over there. And had a chance to get some pictures. This kid here had a remarkable game. Mia Martin, she was our player of the game. You guys check out the pictures. Now, we're trying our best. Look at the form on that. That's a sweet shot right there at the edge of her jump shot. Pretty good camera work there, if I have to brag on myself. And then there's a few pictures from the volleyball game that we talked about. Then there's some more grade school pictures. Hello there. There's Miss Smith, and there's Miss Tinsley making a good two-handed pass. But all those pictures are in the picture archive on the Hometown Sports Corner. You guys jump over there and tag yourself in them, copy them, however you want to use them. It tickled me to death to think you was able to get to enjoy that pictures that perhaps I took. Now, I also want to mention too, got to bounce back and forth, a lot of different things going on, but as I said, my buddy Chris Gotsey brought you guys the Jones Fork and Emelina game. We had ourselves a good time down there as always. We love going to Emelina. They're so good to us and go out of their way to make sure we got whatever we need to cover the games down there. Fun times, and I'm happy for you girls. I had a funeral. I had to go preach, and got to go preach, I should say. So I didn't get to stay and watch the games, but I was able to help Chris get set up. And I know he done a fine job bringing you all those games here at home. But guys, again, the weather's probably going to throw some curveballs. It's already causing some racetracks to cancel. I saw one darn made the post that he was canceling that Mountain Motor, I thought, now it's a little bit early to be doing that. I hadn't watched the forecast. But you guys know, if you don't know, let me assure you they're giving a pretty rough day tomorrow weather-wise. And so you guys be sure to have your generators gassed up, have your phones charged up. Be safe. Most importantly, be safe. Don't take for granted. If they tell you not to drive, don't drive. If they tell you to seek shelter, seek shelter. But you guys, above everything, be safe and be careful, okay? But now, guys, again, got a lot of announcements, as I told you we would. It's one of the biggest reasons for making sure I wanted to be on the air tonight. Last night we posted them, but we are going to get a chance to officially announce the 2024 East Kentucky Racing Hall of Fame class of 2024. I want to talk about that. Going to recap some racing action from last week, and we'll get into dirt track racing. A lot of news, a lot of things going on. And we're going to do that next, and then we'll talk a little football at the end of the show. But you guys stick around. We'll be talking dirt track racing, that Hall of Fame, and what goes into all that, and a few other things we got to discuss. And we'll talk about all that after this commercial break. You guys stick around.
Re-elect David Messer, School Board District number 1 in Knott County. David Messer has been on the Knott County Board of Education for 9 years. David believes our students deserve every opportunity to succeed. He fully supports our new football facility because our kids deserve the same as other districts around us. David Messer also supported and voted for a 14% pay increase for all certified and classified employees. They now have a 1-to-1 ratio for computers for all our students and a new boiler for the Jones Fork Elementary School. David Messer believes our school district is as strong as it has ever been. Vote for leadership and experience. Re-elect David Messer, School Board District number 1 in Knott County. Paid for by David Messer.
Nelson Frazier Funeral Home is proud to sponsor tonight's sporting event. Nelson Frazier has the highest quality American-made funeral products, cremation services, mausoleum, and memorial markers, all with a family budget in mind. With 3 chapels located in Hyman, Martin, and now in Prestonsburg, Nelson Frazier Funeral Home is local people serving local families. On streets of glory.
Dale Hamilton is asking for your vote and support to re-elect him to Knott County Board of Education District number 4. Dale has 32 years experience in education, 24 of those years being spent as a classroom teacher and a coach, and 8 years as your Board of Education member. He believes that every student in Knott County deserves the opportunity to succeed. We have invested in our students by investing in a brand new football facility. This facility will elevate our football, soccer teams, and track teams and middle and high school level teams for many years to come. Vote for strong leadership and experience. Re-elect Dale Hamilton, Knott County School Board Member District number 4. Paid for by Dale Hamilton.
Knott County Judge Executive Jeff Dobson and the Knott County Fiscal Court is happy to once again be sponsoring another event featuring our Knott County youth. Judge Executive Dobson and the members of the Knott Fiscal Court encourage you to support all our Knott County youth in all of their academic and athletic endeavors. That positive reinforcement means the world to these student athletes. This reminder from Knott County Judge Executive Jeff Dobson and the Knott County Fiscal Court.
Hello, my name is Harold Kraft, and I'm running to be your next District 3 board member. I would like to wish the students, teachers, and staff, both certified and classified, a great school year, crafting the future for the next generation of Knott County students. I'm Harold Kraft, asking for your vote, and I paid for this advertisement.
Kentucky Mountain Health Alliance East Kentucky Chiropractic wants to remind you about their Sports Injury Recovery Clinic. Dr. Dale Williams has been providing treatment for sports injuries of all kinds for over 20 years, offering individualized treatments utilizing X-ray and therapies like cold laser, E-stim, and manipulation. East Kentucky Chiropractic can get you off the sidelines and back into the game. Schedule an appointment today with Dr. Williams or Dr. Fields. Call 606-487-9505. We accept most insurances, Medicare and Medicaid.
And again, big thank you to all of our good sponsors, and hello to you that are watching tonight. Let us know where you're watching from. Hit that like and share button for us, and Let's chat it up in the comment section just for a few minutes. Do want to point out to you tonight, it's obvious that I'm wearing red and black. I think it's the only red and black shirt I own. But tomorrow is Red and Black Day. Our dear friend and a longtime friend of mine went back to Knott County Central together, and then we went to just about all of our classes, and Alice Lloyd was together because we both majored over there in education at the same time. But Miss Ashley Hoskins is still yet recovering and getting better, and from what Shannon tells us, told my wife Ashley's getting better. But tomorrow's just a day in which we tip our hat to her and wear red and black. And so we want Shannon and Ashley and their kids to know we're praying for them continuously. They're on our prayer list at church, and we just looking forward to a good, speedy recovery for Miss Ashley. And you guys continue to join me in prayer there too, okay? But guys, as I told you we would, let's focus tonight, for this segment especially, on dirt track racing. Several years ago, I kicked the idea around of the need I felt like of having a dirt track Hall of Fame for our Eastern Kentucky drivers. For a little while, it kind of fell on deaf ears, and I kind of approached some people and said, you ought to do this, you ought to do this. This be good for the sport, this be good for your track. And I just really never got any ground with it. Finally, it just came to me, hey, if nothing else, you do it. And so I done it. I put together what I thought would be a format in which we could select and recognize the drivers from Eastern Kentucky that I thought ought to be in at least our Dirt Track Hall of Fame. Some of them are in the National Hall of Fame, so surely they ought to be recognized in their home area. But with that said, I established and created Eastern Kentucky Dirt Track Hall of Fame. Notice I said Dirt Track Hall of Fame. I then approached Barry Prophet and Josh and Stephanie, and they said, that's a great idea. We'd be tickled for you to come over here at the racetrack and recognize the drivers. And Barry went as far as to say, I'll help you. What we got to do to help you? And I said, well, I'll take care of the plaques and so forth, but I will get you to help me present the plaques to them and kind of make it official, what have you. So we did our first East Kentucky Dirt Track Racing Hall of Fame. Now, just like anything else you do, there's always going to be a little opposition. Everybody's got their opinions. But I told everybody from day one, if they are truly a Hall of Fame driver, we'll get them in. But if we put them all in one night, if we'd started off with 25 Hall of Famers, there's no way you could have interviewed all of them. There's no way you could have recognized all of them in one night. You'd have been there an hour and a half, 2 hours, and let's face it, that's just not going to work with fans that go to watch a race. They're there to watch the race. They'll take the extra stuff, and some of them go there because of the extra stuff. But it had to be done the way I feel like we done it. We picked 5 or 6 each year. The first year, 2020, we had Benny Feltner. Benny Feltner, of course, driver of the 101 late model, competed in the World 100s, drove all across the country, and nobody could argue with that. You know, Benny's a staple in dirt track racing here in Eastern Kentucky. Then we picked David Dixon. David, of course, is the reason I got into dirt track racing. The driver of the number 99 white and yellow car. The guy could flat drive a car. So David was in one of our first class. Jackie Fields. Jackie's raced at Isom every year they've run. You think about that. I get people messaging this week about so-and-so and how they should be in and how can I leave them out. And, but again, Jackie's raced every year. From the time they put the dirt down and created the place until now. And we just felt like at that time he certainly was a Hall of Fame inductee, and I still yet am proud to call him one of our first ever Hall of Fame. Merle Lewis. Merle, every year I committed to having at least one driver from the support classes. Now, I don't like to call them that. You guys have heard me say many times, I think we have dirt track racing because of all of the classes. If you think the sport can live only because of late models, you're wrong. It can't happen. It, monetary-wise, can't happen. It's not the way the sport's designed. Not everybody can afford a late model. And what would it be to go and watch only 8 people show up, or 10 people, 12 people show up? Guys, I'm seeing 10,000 to win late model races drawing 20 cars. You're going to pay to go watch just 20 every week? No, you're not. I'll answer that for you. But with that said, we wanted to have at least one support class. So again, with Merle and the success he had, some of this stuff too, let me say this. When we had a Hall of Fame, or started the Hall of Fame, I had to rely on history books. I have to rely on stats. There are articles that show this gentleman won 20 races in 1 year. There are articles to prove he was track champion 3 or 4 years in a row. Well, obviously those guys will get in. And I'll have some help. I've reached out to some people and they've been nothing but gracious to help me. And so, but anyhow, we were honored to put Merle in. And then the last one that went in the first year was Walter Pegg Combs. Of course, arguably one of the best to ever race in Eastern Kentucky. Walter Pegg just had to respect. You go talk to the other drivers. I've done it, okay? I'm not just rattling this off. I'm not just saying it because he was from Knott County, not just saying it because I'm friends of his family. But I talked to national drivers that said when you went to ISOM, if you could beat Walter Pegg, you know that you was on to something. Think about that. And so again, our first class was Benny Feltner, Jackie Fields, David Dixon, Merle Lewis, and Walter Pegg Combs. Year number 2, Paul Harris, C.J. Rayburn, Gordon Hall, Junior Banks, and D.I. Henson. Of course, D.I. I think is proven, his numbers will prove that he's one of the best 4-cylinder drivers to ever get in a 4-cylinder. So certainly deserved that. And then C.J. Rayburn, the guy invented the Rayburn chassis, was a mastermind, and he came in and we awarded him that, and it was just so much fun. And then shortly thereafter we lost C.J., and so glad that we got to do that when we done it. Junior Banks, of course, we all know with quarter horse racing and what he done and how he done it and his style and the way he brought just a little charisma to the sport. Cat could flat drive a car. Paul Harris, of course, another one of, the proof's in the pudding, that number 10 car with green and yellow. You ain't supposed to have green on your car. And Paul Harris said, don't tell me that. He raced green and white, put that number 10 in the winter circle all over the country, and done really good for Eastern Kentucky racing. And then Gordon Hall, of course, Gordon went in second year, just a stack of trophies and championships and a lot of accolades for he and his team, and what they were able to do out of that garage down in Leeburn, Kentucky. Certainly gave a whole bunch of us an interest and a fun in going to the races every Saturday night. Second and third generation drivers to come because of things that guys like Gordon Hall done. Then the third year, of course, the flood came, 2022, and so we really didn't get to recognize many people. We were getting ready to unveil the Hall of Famers. We did announce that Pat and Kim Maggard would be in the Hall of Fame. And so with that announcement, the class of 2022 has them in. They actually, I think, were awarded their plaque the next year even. But 2022 didn't get to do that. Because we didn't get as many in 22, in last year we tried to put a couple extra in. Danny Salisbury done a phenomenal job in a bunch of different classes, had trophies and wins, and the guy was nominated by a slew of people and deserved. So we try to take the fans' recommendations. We don't want it to be a popularity, though. We try to make sure there's enough proof in the pudding, enough wins, enough championships, and so forth. But Danny went in, racing Tim Mason. I'll be honest, I felt like Tim would be a first name you'd have to put down. If you asked 100 people who's the best drivers you ever watch race, Tim, you'd be amazed how many of those hundreds he'd be on their ballots. The only thing about Tim, I'll be honest with you up front, is I thought, do I put him in and him still racing. I was a little reluctant on that because I thought, will he take that as a compliment? You know, guy's still winning every Saturday night. But we talked to Tim. Tim said, yeah, actually, I think that'd be neat. So we put him in. Mike Pac-Man Corning. We all remember that Pac-Man late model, and the guy was he's such a hoot to get to talk to. And when we thought perhaps we were going to get to open this track up over here, we reached out to Mike, and it's just crazy. Light years ahead of things and ideals and suggestions he had and has. And there's just a wealth of knowledge there. And but the guy could flat drive a car. And as they found out in Eldor and Florence and a whole bunch of other places, he wasn't afraid to hold the pedal down and put it in turn 4. And we're glad we got him in. Warren Drone. That's a name some of you folks won't remember. Some of you won't know. 10 years from now, they'll go in and try to find Warren Drone. You won't find him in a race car. Warren was one of the first people we put in that helped the sport but didn't race. Now you go if you asked 100 drivers, do they know Warren Drone? And they'll say, yeah, the guy taught me more than I could learn in a textbook or any classroom. Carburetors and how to set cars up and figure out what they were doing wrong and what parts worked and what parts didn't. And he was a walking encyclopedia in dirt track racing. And I just miss him. Thank the world of he and Tony and what they meant to me. My wedding even, they bought the gifts and stuff. My wife and I will never forget them. They were just good people. But with Drone's Racing Supply. Ballard Combs, of course, Chris Combs' family honored to carry on his legacy, but Ballard could flat drive a car, and as we studied and dug and digged, it's just a remarkable story of the success that he had out of Letcher County, Kentucky. Terry Boyd, glad to be able to recognize Terry and his success in that bomber class. Terry raced in a class of bombers at a time when guys, they would run 3 classes of bombers because they had so many. You know, you think about that. And to have the success that he, and then I mentioned Gordon earlier, had, when you had that many fellow competitors racing after you, and they marked you as the guy they wanted to beat every week. And we were glad to have Terry, and Terry was honored to get to have that. And then Eddie Carrier Sr. Now, Eddie didn't get to make the awards banquet, but I still got his plaque, or his certificate frame, whatever we do. And we'll make a point soon for Eddie Sr. to get his award, but he did go down. I hope next year, guys, to have a banner made where we could recognize every class on that banner. And then we could just every year add, maybe even do a t-shirt next year. That's one of my goals, just to get to do that. So we'll see if we can't pull that off. Then this year, that brings me to this year, 2024. Now I told you I've done it in 22, 21, some in 22, and 5, 6, 7 of them in 23. But for whatever reason, in 2024, I know that we picked 5 Hall of Fame people that is very deserving. And I ain't had anybody be able to message me and say, those 5 don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Now, some did message and say, you should have put them in a lot sooner. I'm trying. We'll get them all in. Okay? I promise you, I want to put all the Hall of Famers that are deserving in the Hall of Fame. But with that said, I have more complaints in the last 24 hours from some of you guys, and a bunch of you are not watching. Some of you have disliked us and going to quit following us. And I'll just be honest with you. When it comes to this little deal that I'm doing right here, and yes, Roy, you're 1,000% correct. I got quick because I wanted to get to this point I'm making, but you're right. Thank you so much, and I will say certainly. And there's another story to. Let me get to Larry Cross just in a second, Roy, okay? But you guys have bombarded me with the emails of people that I've not put in. Now, going back to what I started this conversation off with, you can't put everybody in 1 year. We're going to put 5, 6 at the most in every year. I'm going to work to build this up, and this will be a good honor. And right when you fellas and right when I think we've got them all in, it'll probably be 10 years from now, the drivers that are racing now, they will be deserving. And this thing will pan out to somebody will take it over when I quit doing all this junk. And I don't call it junk, but you can tell I'm a little bit aggravated. I've read my last mean email from some of you fellas. If you don't like the way I'm doing it, get you a pen, pencil, and paper, and I'll sell you some equipment, and you do it. But anything I've ever done, I want to do it right. If I tell you I'm going to do it a certain way, I'm going to do it that way. But anyhow, can't make everybody happy. But you naysayers ain't going to take away from the 100 of people that I've had this week message me saying, that's pretty cool. Didn't even know you done that. Those 5 people mean the world to dirt track racing, and they do. So every year, you tell somebody, because they're not watching my show ever again, so you tell them I said every year, we're going to recognize 3 or 4 from the late model modified division. We're going to recognize somebody from the support classes, and then we're going to try to recognize somebody that contributed to racing that has perhaps nothing to do with the driving part. Okay? There's crew chiefs, there's sponsors, there's track owners, promoters, a lot of other things that you have to have in order to have racing. That's part of our sport too. And we're going to recognize them as well. So with that said, again, back to what Roy said. Year number 3, was it, Roy? Help me out. I think it was the 3rd year. Some guy said, Jamie, we got some drag racers that are the best in the country that race right here. And I thought, okay, I don't know a thing about drag racing, but you guys tell me. Every person that I contacted, everyone, everybody on Facebook, you name it, said one of the best drag racers to ever be in this country. Still yet drag races, and everybody goes to him for advice, and everybody wants to know how to make the car quicker, and everybody wants to do it the way Larry Cross done it. And so, yes, certainly, Roy, thank you for mentioning that. And we put Larry in from the drag racing. And so with that, I said, let's drop dirt track racing. And from this point forward, when we named Larry a member of the Hall of Fame, we said from this point forward, it will be East Kentucky Racing. And I don't regret that at all, because there's some guys that are doing some special things over in Floyd County with the arm drop racing. This will allow us to reach out and get a couple of them recognized. It's cool. So anyhow, I don't want nobody to feel sorry for me. I don't want nobody to think I'm complaining any more than I am. But as I believe it was Frank, am I right? It was Frank Sinatra or somebody said, I did it my way. I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to do it the way I told everybody I was going to do it from the get-go. And we'll get them all in. And maybe not as soon as you want. But this year's class, guys, again, I don't know. And nobody complained about the 5 people we picked. But a bunch of you complained about the ones we didn't pick. And just know, every year the goal is to do 5 or 6. And the reason why is when it's your year, you ought to get recognized. And not just be somebody that reads your name off or put your name on a plaque and don't even really and truly get recognized. I want it to mean something. Okay? So, with that said, 2024 Hall of Fame of Eastern Kentucky Racing. Let's go to him right here. This cat right here, driver of the number 911 machine. Kurt Hofstas. Guys, he changed open wheel modified racing. He made it a class to remember. A bunch of those guys that are having the success that they're having right now, you owe a bunch of your success to this cat right here. Okay? He, open wheel modified racing, he done it everywhere. Google his name, and don't put Isom or don't put Hazard, don't put Thunder Ridge in, but just put Kurt Hofstas modified racing. You'll find races in Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, you name it. The cat would go there in an open pull-behind trailer and park his opened trailer that he pulled behind a pickup truck amongst the trailers that had cars and haulers and backup cars and more tires and equipment than they could use all season. And Kurt would say, when you write that check, you spell my name, Hofsess. Hoffy can flat drive a car. And we're glad, certainly, to get him in. He's my friend. This ain't got nothing to do with friends. If it did, he'd be in first year. But he's in, and rightfully so. And we appreciate him. He was coming, and I'll get to that in a minute too, to our Hall of Fame induction. But that induction, of course, as you heard me say earlier, has been rained out. So we're going to make up another date, and we want you guys to come and be with us. Mark Sloan says, Kurt wasn't too shabby in the bomber either. No, Mark, you're right, my friend. Kurt could have driven anything. There are drivers that they're fit, they're made, the cars are made for them in their class. I'm convinced Kurt could have won in any class. Several drivers that fit that bill. There are some drivers that tried to run open wheel and it just wasn't their cup of tea. Couldn't make that thing turn like the other guys could. And then I've seen some open wheel drivers that just absolutely was the best in the world. And they never could get the late model. But Kurt could have, I think Kurt can drive. Of course, he had the injury and he's not raced since then. But I'm convinced Kurt could drive tonight in any class and take checkered flags. But again, that's not just me speaking to him as my friend. That's speaking of how many times I've seen him take checkered flags when all the best was coming. They'd say, oh, we've got this and it coming, and this guy's here, and he's the points leader in the UMP, or whatever the class was. I don't even know what they called him. And I'd say, yeah, let's see if he beat Kurt. If he can beat Kurt, he'll impress me. If he don't, he ain't done much. And you'd be amazed how many of them come in here to Eastern Kentucky, and Kurt said, I see you boys in the national championships down there, as he was parking his car in the winner's circle. But anyhow, so Kurt's in there. I'm glad also to have this guy here, Mr. Roy Mullins. 52 years. Now guys, I just get the pleasure of writing and taking pictures and video and doing whatever I'm doing here. I can't even see me doing this for 52 years. I love it. I enjoy this. This is something I put a lot of time into because I love it. But 52 years, and the guy's still yet winning. Won a hobby stock race this year. He's won a bunch of bomber races, and just loves the sport. And he and his family have put in their time and their dues, and we certainly are glad. He's a guy that we're glad to put in, Mr. Roy Mullins. And then, with that said, next guy, Bill McLeod. Now, Bill fits the bill that I told you guys earlier about. We will put people in from time to time that just pave the road for us to get to have racing. Mr. Bill McLeod and what he meant to and means to the racing community at 201 Speedway and a lot of other tracks over in that area is phenomenal. And I am very, very proud and honored, and his family has been proud of this recognition, and they'll be there to accept on his behalf. But we just wanted to say again, Bill McLeod will be in our 2024 class. And then, how about this guy right here? I don't have enough time to talk. I could spend all of this show and then pick back up next week and still not do justice of what this guy right here meant to dirt track racing. Not just in Eastern Kentucky, but everywhere. I challenge you to find somebody that has been on more. Now listen to how I'm saying this, okay? I challenge you to find somebody that's been on more winning cars than this guy. Still yet today. You pick the guy that wins the World 100 and the Dirt Track Championship and the Dream. And look at his sponsors and do you some homework. Take their number one sponsor and say, well, how many wins have they got? And if they're half of what Bob Miller got as a sponsor, I'd be amazed. Bob sponsored, and I know Synonymous and the relationship that he and Scott Bloomquist had, and we talked about that when Scott passed away, how that Scott and Bob had almost a father-son type relationship. But guys, that's part of it, okay? At one time, before the Lucas Oil, am I right to think it was Have a Tampa? It was one of those series. Bob was on about 6 of the cars. Then we think about local drivers, Jackie Boggs, Blackjack, Eddie Carrier, Ralph Francis. I remember the runs that Ralph had at Thunder Ridge with Bob and him. They had a thing hooked up at one time, brother. So many other drivers that will say, hey, Bob, without him I couldn't have raced. So many people that he and his family employed, and what they meant to Eastern Kentucky is another story within itself. But the Miller family had hoped to get to be with us. Bob's beautiful wife, though, had commitment and wasn't going to get to be there. And so I'm hoping that this rain out might make it where Barb could join us for his induction here in a couple weeks. But again, rightfully deserved it. And my buddy Tim Cornett said, the only problem with Bob Miller is you should have put him in the first season. I should have. You're right. But we will recognize Bob Miller nevertheless as part of the 2024 class. And then last, Mr. Nolan Bennett. Now, Nolan's another one of the guys that I'd have some help, okay? With this thing, it's grown now to the point to where I've been able to reach out to other people. And I'd say, who's not in that deserves to be in? And this name was on every ballot. This year too, and I do want to say this, when I say ballot, I reach out to people and I said, email me a list of people that you think should get in. Had about 8 of you. Those are 8 people that I value their opinion. 5 of them are in the Hall of Fame. I'd like to next year give every driver that's in the Hall of Fame or his family member a ballot. Who you think? And next year I'd like for those people to pick 3 of our 5 inductees. I'm going to always still have a say in who's one of them at least, right? I put enough time into it to deserve to get to do that. And then next year, we may open this up and let you fans pick the 5th one. I don't want it to be a vote thing to where we just share and like and get enough votes and we put somebody in that really and truly don't deserve. But I think what we'll do is give you a list. We know these people deserve to be in, and whichever one maybe gets the most votes, we put him in as that 5th person next year. I don't know. We'll find some way. I've got to find a way to where you guys don't think I'm not listening to you. But I also don't want this to be something where you guys just say, let's all get together and get enough family members and cousins to vote. We put anybody in. Ain't going to do that. Promise you, it won't happen that way. But anyhow, when I reach out to people, drivers, people that watch races, this guy, Nolan Bennett, is everybody. Like I said, all of the Hall of Fame drivers said he should already be in. Every one of them. And then I get my sources from my other people, and one of them said, Jamie, it's a no-brainer. And so I said, okay, let's definitely make that happen. And so Nolan Bennett's in. And guys, I hope I haven't come across rude to you. I hope that you somehow, some of you are going to wonder why is he even saying this. If you saw the emails and the messages I've got this week, you'd know why I'm saying it. But as my friend Lee, I think it was said there earlier, you can't please everybody. So what I'm going to do is try to do right by as many people as I can. And at the end of the day, if you don't like how I'm doing it, go do it. Okay? You put the time and the energy into it that I put into it. And again, I don't complain about that. I love it. I love learning the history. A friend of mine I went to school with, her mom reached out to me this week and she said, Jamie, I'd like for you to get to look at my scrapbook. I'm going to meet with her in another week or two just to go through her scrapbook and look at the pictures. She said, I know that you would appreciate it, and I will. And I'd like for you guys. I got a buddy, James Hall. I really rely on James for a lot of things. He's got bukus of pictures from the past, and he's a good tool for me because James just tell you, that cat, he'll say could drive. And so a lot of what I know about dirt track racing, I learned from Marty Hall and James Hall. And so then I have my buddy Jason Hall, and it's not a friend thing, but yet it also, you want people that knows the sport. And so we reach out to them, and then I reach out to be honest with you, Pat and Kim Maggard, we mentioned their name earlier. I talked to Miss Kim. And as I said, I talked to 3 or 4 of the Hall of Fame drivers, and this class was right. I don't have a class yet that I don't like and ain't proud of. Next year's class already has 2 drivers in. And then, as I said, they should already be in. They're no-brainers. But it's been a numbers thing. So we'll get those in, and then more next year. But I said all that to say this, guys, again. I try my best to keep this sport going. And Oscar McCowan said one time, and it's one of the coolest things anybody ever said about me. He said, I hope someday people realize what you're doing for this sport locally. And that's pretty cool. I never forgot it. As I was interviewing him, after we got off the mic, wasn't in front of the camera, he said, I hope people realize what you're doing for this sport. And I want other people to do it. Okay? I'm looking to bring some new help in. Just completed a deal with Hometown 24 TV station here in Eastern Kentucky. It's where I got my start. I'm going back there. Let you guys know that. You'll see a bunch more of me on TV 24, 23, 25, however we decide to do that. But I'll be on the TV a lot more soon, effective basketball season. And then next year, the whole sports year, I expect to bring all these other sports in with me. And so, dirt track racing, they're buying equipment for me to go back and cover dirt track racing in a way that it's not been done here lately. And so we'll fix things that maybe need fixing, tweak a few things, and get some help, and do our best to continue to be a voice for these sports here. But thanks again to all of you that are tuning in. Again, I knew when I jumped on here, tonight's show will be one of those that will be watched a lot more tomorrow. Because we're on a later time, I preached a funeral, and this show gives me flexibility of doing it whenever I can. And so that's why I'm on here for a little bit more. But guys, let's take a few more commercials. And then we still got to talk some football. I still want to recap some racing action that did happen last week. So we'll get a bunch of that stuff in and be back with a whole lot more right here after this commercial break.
For over 100 years, the Bank of Hyman has been committed to serving our community and serving the future of our families, homes, and businesses. With our new convenient online banking, viewing your account balance and history, transferring money, and paying bills has never been easier or more secure. And with the construction of our new headquarters, we've renewed our promise to Hyman to stand by our customers even in troubling economic times, because we're not just your bank, we're your neighbors. That's the Bank of Hyman. Log on to www.bankofhyman.com or give us a call at 606-785-3158.
Are you looking for personalized health care that's efficient and close to home? Primary Care Center is now your destination for comprehensive health care in the center of your community. With a team of experienced and caring local providers, we offer a range of services. We have locations in Hazard, Hyden, Hindman, Ficco, and now our new Whitesburg location. Stop by today and walk-ins are welcome. That's Primary Care Centers of Eastern Kentucky.
Nestled in the mountains of Appalachia, along the Purpose Road, is a hidden gem, Alice Lloyd College. For 100 years, ALC has been providing opportunities.
Opportunity to learn from the best.
Opportunity to work for my education.
Opportunity to serve my community.
Opportunity to become a leader.
Opportunity to find my life's purpose.
Apply now to find your purpose at Alice Lloyd College.
Addiction is a disorder. We treat and we manage addiction like any other disorder. The issue touched me when I start seeing more and more young families fighting addiction, start having babies born with an addiction issue. When we have a great outcome, when we see that person coming back on their feet, working and producing and providing for their families. That's the best outcome. It makes you feel that you're doing something right.
Nelson Frazier Funeral Home is proud to sponsor tonight's sporting event. Nelson Frazier has the highest quality American-made funeral products, cremation services, mausoleums, and memorial markers, all with a family budget in mind. With 3 chapels located in Hyman, Martin, and now in Prestonsburg. Nelson Frazier Funeral Home is local people serving local families.
On streets of glory.
Dale Hamilton is asking for your vote and support to re-elect him to Knott County Board of Education District Number 4. Dale has 32 years experience in education, 24 of those years being spent as a classroom teacher and a coach, and 8 years as your Board of Education member. He believes that every student in Knott County deserves the opportunity to succeed. We have invested in our students by investing in a brand new football facility. This facility will elevate our football, soccer teams, and track teams at middle and high school level teams for many years to come. Vote for strong leadership and experience. Re-elect Dale Hamilton, Knott County School Board Member, District Number 4. Paid for by Dale Hamilton.
And again, guys, thank you to all of our good sponsors. Listen, I like to say this from time to time and probably don't say it enough. If you have a local business, if you're running in an election, any way at all that you'd like to reach local people, reach out to me. You'll be surprised what we could help you do with your advertising dollars. My numbers will prove it. Okay, it's not a popularity contest. It's not a what if. It's not a I wish. I think I could. Our advertising numbers will show. If you want to know what kind of numbers we get, go to the video section after the night's show and click. See some of the videos that or some of the things that we're covering, and we're committed to covering it from grade school to college. But again, as we're on the subject, let's go to the video section here and look at some numbers here. Tonight's Jones Fork and the Emelina girls basketball game, tonight, as we speak, has 3,200 views. The June Buchanan Emelina game, 2,000 views. The Leslie County, Clay County, keep in mind now we're in Knott County, Kentucky, but the Leslie County, Clay County high school football game Friday night, 8,500 views. The Knott County Central, Letcher Central Middle School football game, 4,000 views. Letcher, no, actually, let me get to real quickly Knott County, and then I'll hush about it. Knott County at Betsy Lane, 20,000 views. Go to the archives and check it yourself. That high school football game got 20,000 views. So where are you going to advertise that for the dollars that we can put you on here for to reach that many viewers? Get up with us. We can put together a package that's right for you. But now, guys, as we move on just a little bit more here, let's, as we like to do from time to time, go around the horn and look at our local tracks. I can tell you, I do know, Mountain Motor Speedway will not be racing this weekend. Darren's already made the call. Well, now if I look at the forecast and see the rains and things that we're supposed to get tonight, all day tomorrow, leading up to the event Saturday, it was the right call to go ahead and make that decision. But with that said, Mountain Motor won't be racing this weekend at Isom, Kentucky. We will, however, be back next weekend, and we want you to come and be with us. You'll be hearing a lot more about it. It is the American All-Star Series. Walter Pegg Combs Memorial. 4,000 to win. Guys, the American All-Star Series is a crate late model series, but they're competing all across the state of Kentucky and Tennessee, Virginia. I think a couple races this year in North Carolina and West Virginia. But my buddy Joseph Rouse and Walter Tapp and those guys do a fantastic job with that class, and you will certainly not be disappointed for 1 second. If you'll come over and be with us, you'll see some top-notch driving over there. And of course, we honor, as I said earlier, Walter Pegg Combs, one of the top to ever race here in the mountains, and we thank his family for allowing us to keep the legacy going and honoring him there. I gotta scroll down real quickly though. There's that flyer I wanted to show you about. Walter Pegg Combs Memorial again, guys. 4,000 to win, 325 to start. Again, Saturday, October the 5th. That's the American All-Star Series coming to town, and you need to check them out in person. And then, guys, here is, let me make sure now before I mess up on that is the winning pictures from this past weekend. It is indeed. So let's go ahead and click on those and congratulate the winners. Mr. Raymond Nichols, smiling from ear to ear as he should be. Put that number 10 Longhorn chassis. Kind of neat to see him in that winner's circle. Not just in the winner's circle, but in that Longhorn chassis. Raymond deserved that one, though. He's a hard worker, and congratulations to him. And how about the wild child, Darren Sloan? Put his car in the winner's circle again. Congratulations to him and his crew there. And I got to get my buddy Darryl Sloan to smile next time. But I pick on Darryl. Again, congratulations to Darren Sloan. And how about Brandon Mason? Brandon Mason in the A-Mod pick up the big win. 800 to win. Congratulations to him and his crew. And then how about this cat right here in the hobby stock? Got the win there. Congratulations to him. And then should be Caleb Maggard in the 4 cylinders. Got the win there as well. So congratulations to Caleb. And we look forward again, guys, to seeing dirt track racing at Mountain Motor Speedway for the Walter Pegg Combs Memorial. And as we said, they were scheduled to have the Mod Mania. That was the Sport Mod 1500 to win race. Well, that race rained out this weekend. But I can tell you guys again that Darren will do his best, I'm quite sure, to get that race in. And right now, though, all focus will go to the American All-Star Series race, the Walter Pegg Combs race coming up next Saturday. So make plans to come be with us. 4,000 to win for the crates. Also on that night, modified, sport mod, hobby stock, and 4 cylinders. So you want to get there. Guys, kind of handcuffed him on the points deal. We're doing a fall points deal at Mountain Motor. He says with the rain out and the fact that this should have been our final points race, he will now use October the 5th as the final points race. What happens with the points races, the top 3 in the points will then get to compete for a championship, a fall championship. We'll have a regular night of racing, but to make things a little more interesting, the top 3 in each class on championship night will be running, and I assume however they get the most points that night, they'd be crowned the champion of the Fall Classic. Now I'm talking to Darren. I want us we can do this Fall Classic next year again, but I want them to get to have a points season next year, where we could recognize the overall champion. With that said, you got to understand that Darren and the guys got to track in the middle part of the season. It wouldn't have been fair to the guys that got W's before Darren started, or the guys that got wins after Darren started. Different rules packages, different classes, a lot of different things. It would have been virtually impossible to have had a track championship this year. But he'll get an opportunity to run, I'm sure, a points championship deal next year. And so you guys get out there and race with him, be with him. Of cool thing about Darren is he is a racer, okay? So he understands when you guys come to him and say, hey, Darren, this economically just ain't right. We're going to spend more money on doing this than what we could ever get to win. And I think you'll find him to be open-minded if you approach him. He's very approachable about things, and he's loving what he's doing. And I think he and Copperhead and the guys are just doing a great job. And you guys continue the good work over at Isom, Kentucky. Somebody asked me to, got a message this week, said, what'd you and Darren fall out over? And I said, not a thing that I know of. He'd probably like something on his pizza that I don't like on mine, so we could disagree on that. But away from racing, me and Darren are good friends. I just told him when he took the track over the same thing that I told Donnie. I can't be your permanent announcer because I got too many other things going. But I've had fun this year helping Darren, and I'll be there to help some next year. And any way they need me, when I can be there, I'll be glad. I'll park cars, whatever they want me to do, announce, any way I can help them. But there are so many nights I can't be there, and certainly will be next year, that that's kind of why I faded away and let some other people work in the tower this year. But I'm going to be there for the Walter Pegg Combs if I have to just buy a ticket and sit in the stands with you fans. I think they'll still let me announce, even though I ain't been there in a while. But either way, we want you all to get out and let's have a big, big time over there at Mountain Motor Speedway in Isom, Kentucky. This race is so important to me that I hope to next week have a Walter Pegg Combs preview to where we'll do nothing but talk about that race only. So you guys will want to catch that if we can pull that off there. But let's get a few more things in here. Can we maybe go down to the Rock Castle Speedway? Again, those guys down there do a fantastic job as well. And yes, indeed. There we go. Rock Castle Speedway. How about this gentleman here, Mr. Jeff Watson? Parked his car in the winner's circle down there. Is that going to show you guys? Yeah, there we go. That'll show you that picture. Congratulations to him and that number 11 team. They do a great job and got the big win down there at Rock Castle Speedway. And I'm quite sure I'm right when I tell you that's an American All-Star Series weekly sanctioned race. So a good deal there for Jeff Watt and those guys. And let's get a few more of the winners' pictures from down there. Again, good picture there. Excellent job. And then this gentleman here, Jacob Owens, 800 to win for the Classic Series that came to town down there and put on a good show from what I understand. Again, another nice picture there of another feature winner they had down there. And just congratulations again to those guys and gals that were able to find the winner's circle down at Rock Castle Speedway. Trying to see, I thought they had the results, but I don't know. I might be wrong on that. But nevertheless, a good fun night of racing down there as always at Rock Castle Speedway. And we encourage you fans to get out. They'll be having King of the Rock coming up down there. The American All-Star Series presented by PPM Racing Products Weekly Points Racers. Joe has reminded us that we had not used our double points race. So with that said, the King of the Rock Fall Classic Final Points Race, it's a double points race. This doesn't have anything to do with their track championship, but you guys need to be reminded that the King of the Rock race scheduled for down there this weekend, Saturday, September the 28th, will be a double points race for the late models in the American All-Star Series. Check that out. Pretty cool flyer there, by the way. $1,500 to win for the pro late models. Double points for the American All-Star Series. Modified will be racing for $1,200 to win. Super Stock, $900 to win. The Crown Vics, $400 to win. Mini Stocks, $500 to win. And the Hornets, $500 to win. You see the prices there. Pit admission $40, kids is $20. Grandstands $20, kids 12 and under get in free. And that racetrack located in Mount Vernon, Kentucky, right off the 4-lane down there. So guys, again, I encourage you to get out and check them out. If you haven't done so, you will like what you see down at Rockcastle Speedway. Then let's head down to Lake Cumberland Speedway, as I told you we try to do. Talk a little racing action from down there. Our friends from Graphic Impressions put up the $200 for the Fast Time Award for October the 26th. Billy and Randy always doing fantastic stuff. And here's that race coming up down there. There we go. Yes. Lake Cumberland Speedway Fall Classic. The Jeff Gullett Tribute. $7,500 to win. That's coming up at Lake Cumberland Speedway. The Southern All-Star Series. Guys, that's the oldest running series in America. And the late models showing up down there all the time anyway for their big show. You bring that series to town. That ought to be a dandy fall race coming up October the 26th. The pro lates will pay $1,500 to win, open wheel $1,200 to win, hobby stock and mini stock $500 to win. But $7,500 to win at Lake Cumberland Speedway down there, my friends down there. And I appreciate all they've done this season, and a lot of big announcements still yet coming up. I know how Brandon is. If Hargrove can, he'll race every weekend. But they do want to congratulate their past weekend winners. And let's check them out here again. There's their pictures as everybody's smiling from the camera. And again, this is from the Hargrove Winners Circle down there. And I want to get you the pictures. And then after I've got you the pictures, we'll go back and get you the names of the winners. But from Lake Cumberland Speedway, guys, we appreciate them and their friendship. Again, good folks down there. And everybody smiling for the camera. They had a swarm of racing going on down there, didn't they? But again, now that I've got you those pictures, I can go back out and get you the results. Skylar Marla, we knew that was Skylar in the late models. Brian Barber won the open wheel modified. TJ Sharp, Dustin Duncan, Randy Hacker. The mechanics race was won by Larry Perriman, and the powder puff was won by Miss Monica Parton. So congratulations again to all those. Looks like too they did crown their 2024 track champions. And so let me go ahead and say that the Saturday we all acknowledge the front stretch pre-race champions. A mini stock, Eric Parton. Moddats was Ben Petrie. Roman Wesley won the crate championship down there. Tyler Henry won the Crown Vics. And Adrian Smith would be the Grassroots Hobby Stock track champion. Let's get you their pictures again, and congratulations to them all. This is the weekly track champions down at Lake Cumberland Speedway 2024. Hobby stock champion Adrian Smith again there. 2024 front wheel mini stock points champion Eric Parton. Again, there's the late model champion Mr. Wesley. Ben Petrie was the open wheel modified track champion. And congratulations from all of us to all of you down at Lake Cumberland Speedway. Guys, again, job well done, certainly down there. But as I said, Brandon continues to run some races. He'll gear up and they'll go racing in October. I know he's announced that big super late model race, but I wouldn't be surprised Brandon don't run the week prior to that. Sometimes at this time of year, you got to kind of play it by ear and see what the weather does. He's got a demolition derby coming up the first or second week in October, and then I won't be surprised if he don't throw another race in there before that super late model race. That's not on the website. That's just saying though that if weather would work with him, don't be surprised if he don't do that. Guys, got a couple more tracks I got to talk about. Another commercial break or two, so let's take those. And we'll be back to talk a little more dirt track racing, high school scores, and preview some other games coming up this week. And talk about, of course, that Alice Lloyd College top 10 of football. let's recap that as well. We'll be back after this commercial break. Thanks again to all my good sponsors. Before I go to them, Knott County Fiscal Court, Dale Hamilton, Dave Messer, and Harold Kraft running for board members. Primary Cares of Eastern Kentucky, Frontier Behavioral Health, and Nelson Fraser Funeral Home. That's the sponsors just for this show. I've got a bunch of other good sponsors for the ball games and a lot of other things we do, but those sponsors brings you this show each week, and we sure are glad to have all of them.
Are you looking for personalized health care that's efficient and close to home? Primary Care Center is now your destination for comprehensive health care in the center of your community. With a team of experienced and caring local providers, we offer a range of services. We have locations in Hazard, Hyden, Hindman, Ficco, and now our new Whitesburg location. Stop by today and walk-ins are welcome. That's Primary Care Centers of Eastern Kentucky.
What keeps you going? Your love for the game? Your teammates? A victory? At ARH Orthopedics, our goal is to keep you pain-free so your body can keep going. There's no time for discomfort in your joints or ligaments caused by an injury. ARH Orthopedic providers specialize in treatment plans, from non-surgical and surgical options, so your care is entirely centered around you. Visit arh.org/ortho to find an orthopedic provider near you. ARH, more for Appalachia.
Dale Hamilton is asking for your vote and support to re-elect him to Knott County Board of Education District Number 4. Dale has 32 years experience in education, 24 of those years being spent as a classroom teacher and a coach, and 8 years as your Board of Education member. He believes that every student in Knott County deserves the opportunity to succeed. We have invested in our students by investing in a brand new football facility. This facility will elevate our football, soccer teams, and track teams and middle and high school level teams for many years to come. Vote for strong leadership and experience. Re-elect Dale Hamilton, Knott County School Board Member, District Number 4. Paid for by Dale Hamilton.
Knott County Judge Executive Jeff Dobson and the Knott County Fiscal Court is happy to once again be sponsoring another event featuring our Knott County youth. Judge Executive Dobson and the members of the Knott Fiscal Court encourage you to support all our Knott County youth in all of their academic and athletic endeavors. That positive reinforcement means the world to these student athletes. This reminder from Knott County Judge Executive Jeff Dobson and the Knott County Fiscal Court.
Addiction is a disorder. We treat and we manage addiction like any other disorder. The issue touched me when I start seeing more and more young families fighting addiction, start having babies born with an addiction issue. When we have a great outcome, when we see that person coming back on their feet, working and producing and providing for their families. That's the best outcome. It makes you feel that you're doing something right.
Nelson Fraser Funeral Home is proud to sponsor tonight's sporting event. Nelson Fraser has the highest quality American-made funeral products, cremation services, mausoleums, and memorial markers, all with a family budget in mind. With 3 chapels located in Hyman, Martin, and now in Prestonsburg. Nelson Fraser Funeral Home is local people serving local families.
On streets of glory.
And welcome back, guys, to Sports Talk here. And as I told you we would, let's talk just a little bit more dirt track racing before we go to the football segment of tonight's show. And how about the friends down at Thunder Mountain Speedway in Corbin, Kentucky? They typed a message this week on their Facebook page and said, who would like some more racing on the mountain? Of course, all the fans said, yeah, we're not ready to quit. Well, how about this? They have put together 2 days of racing in November. Friday, November the 1st, and Saturday, November the 2nd. Racing would start at 7 o'clock on Friday, $1,500 to win in the stands, and they would run modified, sprints, stocks, 4-cylinders, and guys, that's pretty cool. Then on Saturday, turn right around, do it all again. But do you see the purse? If you don't see it, let me zoom in just a little bit tighter there for you. Saturday, November the 2nd, $4,000 to win for the modified, $2,000 to win for the sportsman, $1,000 for the 600cc modified and the vintage modified. Check that out. Ain't that cool? Again, guys, they sent me that flyer. Guess what? That's not the right Thunder Mountain Speedway. I don't think I made that mistake just yet. But we better back out there and hit the other Thunder Mountain Speedway. That race won't take place in Corbin, Kentucky. That's in New York. I didn't do my homework on that one, did I? They'll really send me messages this week there. But let's go find Thunder Mountain Speedway in Corbin, Kentucky. This look a little more familiar to you, won't it? Yeah, that's the people that we know, and you guys enjoy watching every weekend down there. But let's go now to their Facebook page and tell you their race in action is going to take place still yet in September. In fact, Saturday, if the weather will work with them, they plan on racing down there. Gates open at 12. Drivers meeting at 6. And late models, open wheel modified, hobby stock, front wheel drive, and junior front wheel drive. I knew they were running a new class, but knew it wasn't that class I just tried to tell you all about. So again, let me back up and apologize. This is the Thunder Mountain flyer that I should have showed you, and that's from our friends down in Corbin. How'd I get tagged in that other one? I ain't sure. But anywho, again, you guys make sure that you have made note of that. And head on down there. They've worked good with Mountain Motor this season too, sharing their flyers and trying to send some drivers from that area up there. And actually, some of these hobby stock and four-cylinder drivers that you guys are seeing for the first time in the last month are drivers from that area. And so it's neat that they've come up and raced with us, and I think you'll see even more of that in the future coming up there. But guys, can we go now just to, again, get some messages here. We'll try to get to those in a moment. But let's talk just a little bit more about some other racing action coming on and that has took place. But we'll do that probably more next week because I'm running out of time here, guys. And I got to get some high school football in, right? We haven't even mentioned high school football other than the fact that, boy, I got treated to a dandy of a game Friday night. I went down to Leslie County, Kentucky. I cheered all the heart, and we got some good friends down there, been inviting us down, and man, they treated us good, and we were treated to somewhat of a football game. You had to like it. Of course, you may not have liked the outcome if you were a die-hard Leslie County fan, like a bunch of you guys I know that watch our show is, but you still had to tip your hat and say, guys, that's a good football game. Clay County beat Leslie County 21-20. Clay County was able to get their bear claws, I call them, on an extra kick. And so the extra point kick that Leslie County missed because they blocked it would eventually be what teeter-tottered the win there, 21-20. Leslie would recover a fumble with about 3.5, 4 minutes to go, drove the length of the football field. I'm talking like the fumble was on the 20-yard line for Clay County. Leslie drove it down, and man alive, they just put such a great effort into the drive, only to have it ended probably, if I'm guessing, on about the 12-yard line. It was a classic football game. And I tip my hat to both teams. They're doing such excellent work down there at Leslie County, and you guys just keep working hard. Okay? Don't. I tell everybody constantly, one game doesn't determine your season. In fact, now they're more than ever important. Get out and support these kids, and wherever they're playing football at, you make sure that you acknowledge their hard work. And some of these players right now, this is the time of the year now where they need a little extra love. This is the time of the year where you kind of get some of those bruises, and maybe you've got a bad ankle, or maybe something they're keeping you from getting to play like you want to play. So you fans got to pick them up. Get behind these football players and let them know that you appreciate all the hard work and that you're cheering them on. And with that said, let's go to our Alice Lloyd College top 10. Now, before I do that, let me say to you guys, my top 10 has always been different than anybody else's. I try to take the top 10 at the beginning of the season. If you win, you move up. If you lose, you fall down. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that I think this is the 10 best teams in the mountains. But this is based upon their performance, their schedule, the games they played last week. A lot of different things, records. Pretty heavy in my top 10. But with that said, still yet number 1, Betsy Lane. Betsy Lane Bobcats, number 1. And they'll have a matchup if the weather permits. I hate saying it that way, but who knows how the weather's going to affect tomorrow night's football games. Somebody said, where are you going? Well, I said, let's wait and see where they play. But Betsy Lane and Prestonsburg will play each other. Number 1 and number 2 in our polls. Betsy Lane's number 1 for the second week in a row. Prestonsburg was 3. They've moved up to number 2. And they'll play each other if weather permits and things get to happen tomorrow night. In at 3, that Clay County Tigers team. Guys, there's only 3 undefeated teams in my coverage area. I have 27 football teams that we cover or try to keep you up to date on. That we will get to broadcast one or some of their games throughout the season. Clay County is one of those 3 teams. And they'll continue to have a good matchup this weekend. But as I told you guys earlier, we talked about how, I'm trying to get that scoreboard pulled up here for us too, so we can talk a little bit of that as we go into this. But Clay County is in at number 3. Johnson Central. Johnson Central's in at number 4. They move up from 5 to 4. In my opinion, if you said, hey, who do you think the number 1 team in the mountains is? If you could pick one team and you thought that team could win one big tournament, this is the team I pick. I know Belfry's good, and I know what all you guys keep writing me about Pikeville, and I realize Pikeville's had to play a harder schedule because they get people to play them, and I've read every comment you guys have sent me. But at the end of the night, you got to also have some value on what your record is. And so with that said, though, again, I have Johnson Central at 4, and I have Belfry at 5. Johnson Central was 5 last week. They move up to 4. And Belfry, my goodness, that team, we knew they're good, much better than what their beginning season record showed. But they beat Pikeville 35-21 at Pikeville. Pretty impressive win, guys. Maybe the most impressive win of any team in the mountains this season when you think about where it was at, and they beat them by 2 touchdowns. But Belfry's in at number 5. How about Martin County? Shout out to them. They're in and they're up to 6. Lawrence County moves up a spot. Them Bulldogs. Lawrence County up to number 7. The Hazard Bulldogs that I've enjoyed talking about each week. They took a loss down in Jackson, Kentucky. And so that dropped them some spots. But they're still in the top 10. They're in at number 8. And Bulldogs, though, unfortunately for them, it don't get much easier, does it? That schedule of theirs is tough. I'm talking about well done steak tough that 8-1 won't help. But that's all right. The Bulldogs will get they get tough with it. But they play Corbin tomorrow night. They go to Raceland. That's a Raceland team that's not as good as what they have been in the past, but they'll still be ready for Hazard. Then they'll host Paintsville. They'll go to Pikeville, and they finish up the season. I want to go to that game. I love to get to do the Hazard Clay County game Friday, November the 1st. That could be a fun football game for you Bulldog fans. Then you see number 9 there, got Knott County Central. Patriots were in at 10. They picked up win number 4 this week over at Phelps. And, guys, I kind of felt weird not calling a Knott Central game. As much time as I put in with the guys and as much as I've enjoyed it, but just knew that the logistics of me being able to broadcast a football game wouldn't be good at Phelps. You got to about have spectacular cell phone signal, or you'd like to have a hardwired internet like you guys have at home. That's what is the best circumstance for us to broadcast the game. And so with that said, I just kind of felt like it'd be a losing battle. And so we didn't get to make the trek over with you fellas, but I'm still proud of Knott Central. And how about Perry Central? Big win over Shelby Valley. They cracked our top 10 there on the Hometown Sports Corner. Alice Lloyd College sponsored top 10. Thanks so much again always to my friends at Alice Lloyd College. And as I said, I didn't get a chance to go with the Knott County Central Patriots and cover them, but I still got a chance to work on some of their flyers for them. And how about this guy here, Jay Sandberger? All he does is get tackles every week, double figures. And he had himself yet another big double figure night. I was very, very proud of him. As Big Jay Sandberger, number 56, had so far on the season, guys, he has 62 tackles. That's crazy. And oh, by the way, he's still a young'un. By that, what do you mean, Jamie, by that? I think he's just a sophomore. Am I right? Sophomore, junior, very young Knott County Central Patriot. Sophomore, I'm right. Leading them in tackles. Then how about this senior right here, number 4, Hunter Thomas? Hunter knows how much I love him and how much I appreciate the way he plays the game and anything he does. The kid doesn't know how to do things without doing it with full intensity. He just goes all out each and every week. And this past weekend, he got himself another double figure in tackle. And that big Bryson Everidge, 4-0, knows how much of a fan I am of his. Outside of his family, he'd be hard-pressed to find somebody that likes the way Bryce Everidge does it any better than me. Well, he had 12 tackles this week, and he gets another one of our slick ads that we're making here. Frontier Behavioral big-time performers. This cat right here, Shane Gibson, boy, he's continued to have himself somewhat of a season. He plays offense, by the way, really good. You guys know that. But he had 16 tackles Friday night. Think about that. 16 tackles for a guy that everybody talks about his offense. And if you want to talk about offense, how about the guy that wears the pink shoes? Got to give a shout out to my buddy Chance there. Of course, number 11, he does phenomenal things for his team each and every week. But this week he got to have himself a big night on the stat column. He's been double teamed all season. They put their best defenders on him and a better one behind him. They've schemed and tried their best to focus on him. Well, he got a little bit aggravated about that and just went out and got 165 yards anyway. And so congratulations to Chance Ambergy. How about this cat right here, Preston Shepard? Man alive. He continues to run too, don't he? I said run. When it comes to rushing, guys, he is having himself somewhat of a season. 118 yards. And with that, he gets the big honor there. And then, of course, how about QB number 1? We constantly talk week in and week out about the accolades and the big performers. This guy here's one throwing them the football. He's one getting the job done for him. And again, he told me earlier in the year, he said, I want to turn this football program around and give everybody, I'm having a rough time with that word tonight. Hey, that's twice I've done it. He said, I want to give everybody something good to say about us. Well, brother, you've done that. Got your team at 4-1, and Gage Short again with 228 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mighty, mighty proud of he, and I know Coach Randall Mullins is pleased with everybody's efforts and the way they've took care of business for Knott Central. Now, for the Patriots, this is their bye week, so they would be off this week. But then they will travel to High Hat, Kentucky, and we want to do our best to get over there as well. We would be, I think I'm right, James would agree with me, we would be at that game next Friday, October the 4th. Floyd Central hosts Knott County Central. They have added, if you have the original football schedule, this game won't be on that schedule. But October the 11th, the Knott County will go to Harlan to play Harlan Independent. And then October the 18th, they go to Cardinal Stadium and take on the Martin County Cardinals. That's the game in which James and I went to 2 years ago, and he says I got us lost. He was the one driving. But you've heard us talk about it, pick on each other about it hundreds of times probably, feels like. Well, that's the recap. We'll go back and play it again down there in Martin, Kentucky. Now we know the way, James. We won't get lost. Then Knott County finishes up the season home game against Prestonsburg October the 25th. And then they'll go to East Ridge on November the 1st over there. But again, guys, as we run out of time here, won't be surprised if some of the games aren't canceled tomorrow. I hope somebody can educate us all in the comment section. Tomorrow when you watch this, somebody give me the explanation or what would prevent us from playing a bunch of these football games on Saturday. Is that not as easy as I think it would be? Somebody much smarter than me in the comment section, let us know, could these football games that potentially get rained out tomorrow be played on Saturday? Or do the games, referees and so forth, are they available? Maybe that might hinder it from happening, I don't know. But anyhow, scheduled tomorrow, Hazard versus Corbin, Jenkins at East Ridge, Lawrence County at Estill County, Letcher Central and Breathitt. That'll be the game of the night if it gets to have. Is that game, let's click, is that game at home or away? Letcher has that game at home. So Coach Matthews will have Breathitt County over there tomorrow night. And that ought to be a dandy if the weather would permit it to happen. Try to get a few more. McGoffin at Belfry. Martin County at Perry Central. That might be where I end up at. I don't know. I'd like to go with the fellas. I know HT24 are going to do the Letcher game. But if they have enough help and everything, I may go check the Perry game out, even as a fan, if we don't get it broadcasted. I'd like to broadcast it if the signal and so forth, as I explained to you earlier, would work for us to get to do it from there. But anyhow, I'll check with James in the morning on that, but you still want to make note of that, folks. Martin County at Perry Central. Powell County plays Fairview. Prestonsburg and Betsy Lane. That might not be a bad game for me to go visit either tomorrow night. Rockcastle at Clay. Wouldn't mind to make the trek down there and see that one either. I've got back into photography. If you haven't noticed, I'm having a ball. I don't know why I ever quit. Other than the fact I thought, well, there's too many photographers as it is. But then I thought, you really can't have too many, right? So, for no other reason than hometown sports and me enjoying it, I've got into photography. And so, I'll probably catch one of those football games and shoot some pictures if we don't get a broadcast. But you guys, check before you go. Be careful if you go. And one final time tonight, let me encourage you to get ready for the storms coming. Make sure you know where your lights are. Make sure you got your phone charged. If you haven't bought it at Walmart, guys, for $10 you can buy a battery that you charge up. And then when the electricity goes out, you can charge your phone a couple times from it. I encourage you. Good investment. Good investment. I love you guys. Appreciate every one of you tuning in. I knew we would be a little bit less on the numbers from the live stream, but again, they'll go back and watch it tomorrow, and we'll say howdy to them tonight that will watch us tomorrow. Remind you guys too, if you haven't done so, Mountain Sports Corner. That's the show James Sandlin and I host on a Hometown 24 cable. We're doing that now. I told you we're going, I don't want to say full time because we both. I've got a full-time job. James just retired. But we're going to put a ton more attention. Our focus will be more on their products than ever before. And we'll continue to cover the things we're doing. But without letting a lot of things out, the plan is, for those of you that watch me to the end of the show, James and I will take everything we're doing and put it on a cable channel. that's coming up probably in November. And so, but more about that as it gets closer. But with that said, Chris Godsey and a bunch of these other guys are going to continue to call grade school games right here on Hometown Sports. James and I will do games when there's not a game for TV 24 or 23, whichever one we get to go to send us to. So we'll still be on here, but a little less of me and a whole lot more of some of the other guys, and then a whole lot more of me on the TV. That's, I think, probably going to be the plan. But that'll wrap us up. You guys be real good sports fans. Do want to back up before I go and say a big congratulations to Mr. Baker from the Knott County golf team. He qualified for the semifinals of the state, and I'm very, very proud of that for him. That's not a easy task to do, and he certainly deserves a big shout out here on the Hometown Sports Corner. I want to also, before we leave too, recognize the Hazard Lady Bulldog. I can do that in just another second here. She qualified, as her coaches had thought she would. Miss Riley Griffith. Riley finished second in the Kentucky High School Athletic Association's Regional Golf Championship, and that will advance her on to the state. And so congratulations to her. Also want to make note, the 53rd District Soccer Tournament starts Monday, October the 7th, and the district's a little different for soccer than it is for basketball. Case in point, the 53rd District includes Letcher, Knott, Purry, and Hazard. Purry and Hazard will play each other in the girls. Letcher and Knott will play each other in the girls, with the winner moving on to the 53rd District Championships. In the boys, it will be Purry and Knott playing in the top of the bracket, and Hazard and Letcher down in the bottom of the bracket. And again, shout out to all of you soccer teams. I want to wish you all the best of luck, certainly so. That'll wrap us up. Enough talking. But you guys, I hope you enjoy what we do. We try our best here. And again, just know, as I said earlier, sometimes we may feel like you're complaining, and sometimes you may think I'm complaining. But it's a labor of love. We enjoy this, and we're going to continue to do this as long as it's as fun as it is right now. But until next time, you guys make sure you go to church on Sunday. Invite you to come be with us. We'll have church Sunday at 2 at Lighthouse Baptist Church. It's our memorial service, so we'll have dinner afterwards. And then my buddy Talon Thacker plays basketball, was one of our Hometown Sports Corner All-Stars. He got saved, and he'll be baptized Sunday after church. So you guys come and enjoy a fun day with us Sunday at church, okay? But let's wrap us up. Say to all of you, thank you for those that share. Thank you for those that have comments, things that you like about the show. Those of you that go like the show and follow us, we thank you. And to those of you that complain a little bit, some of you that don't like the way Jamie does things, I want to thank you too. Guys like you motivate me to do a better job. Guys like you make this to where I want to prove that I am doing things right. So thanks to all of you. Appreciate you clicking. One of the guys over at the volleyball game said, man, they give you a hard time over that top 10. I said, every time they click it, I make money off of it. So go ahead and click it. Complain all you want to. Dale Earnhardt always said, when you guys were complaining, he was doing something right. So we must be doing something right. We'll see you guys again next week right here on Hometown Sports Corner. Good night. God bless.